Abracadabra, create what you speak with iLan Azoulai. Hello, welcome to Abracadabra, create what you speak. I'm iLan Azoulai, your host, spiritual mentor, and sound therapist for you who are ready to reclaim your inner power, to remember your gifts, heal, and manifest them to the world, all with love and no fear. This program is an empowerment program where I bring artists, where I bring educators, I bring people that are in their journey and are experiencing and living their gifts and shining them to the world so they can be encouraging for others, because our unity is our power. My guest today is Lisa Strzoda. She's a holistic nutritionist and a co-active trained life coach. She partners with men and women who struggle with health and wellness issues and want to feel better. Who doesn't want? And this is so needed in this time and world. She helps them make natural, positive lifestyle choices and implement them consistently. She also facilitates Love Class. It's adopted from the book Love by Leo Buscaglia and is the creator of Tell Me Your Story and the Holistic Life Coach podcasts. Now, Lisa is no foreign to disease, and she has an autoimmune disease. She's lived with celiac disease, thyroiditis, fibromyalgia for 20 years, and some more things. And it's very interesting how she transformed from one place to the other, and now she's encouraging others. So I'm really excited to have Lisa here. Hi, Lisa.
There
Hi,
we go.
Lisa. How are you? Lovely
Hi,
to.
good. Good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. More than welcome. It's a joy to have you. We're going to talk about where we've met, but tell us about yourself a little bit. That's
Well,
really great to have you. Really encouraging.
yeah, thank you. I'm a health coach and also a life coach, and I facilitate what is called Love Class.
Yeah, that's interesting. I want to hear more about that. Love is all. It's all about love.
It's all about love.
All about love.
Yeah.
So this is great. Now I want for you who are joining, Lisa and I met at the Be Seen on TV, right? The Be Seen on
Mm-hmm.
TV master class that is by Jen and Chris, and it's very interesting because this is a place where we encourage others to write to pitch and present before the media groups and so forth. So you've come to this place to promote your love class, which is this upcoming Saturday, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so let's start with that first of all. Tell us about the love class. What about
So,
this and how you got to it and so forth?
Love Class is about being able to incorporate hope, potential, and risk into your life. And we talk about how those are essential to have in order to get bring more love into your life.
That's
So,
so we have hope,
mhm,
potential, what was it?
potential,
and
risk.
and risk. So we need to have hope. So we need to have our hope, which was, and the potential is being driven by the will, right?
Yeah, the potential is about what are your talents and gifts
Mm,
that you can offer the world. There is no one else like you.
exactly.
So, when Lisa Strzoda is gone, there will never be another Lisa Strzoda in this world.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's right.
knowing that alone gives me, a sense of respect. And I hope that when others uh, realize how unique and special they are, that that will give them that same sense of,
That's
personhood.
that's a very a very important point, actually, what you bring up, because we are focusing on our gifts. We are focusing on what you have, what each one has, what gifts you have, what can you do with your gifts. Do you manifest your gifts? I work with helping people manifest their dreams, manifest the life that they want through sound. But it's really important. It's to understand the concept. And what you said, actually, something that I had when I was in the fourth grade. I remember. I was like,
Yeah.
what? So there will one day be no ilan. Now at that time I was thinking as a fourth grader. But it's very important
Hmm.
to understand that point, that you are so unique, and there is no anybody else like you. No,
Yeah.
Rabbi Breslev, as Rabbi Breslev
Hmm.
says, the day that you were born is the day that God decided that the world cannot continue without you.
That is wonderful. Wow.
I have it on
Yeah.
a coaster on a downstairs in my
Uh-huh.
studio. I have it on a coaster. It's fascinating. It's fascinating
Yeah.
to understand that, to grasp that. There is no any other one like you, Lisa. So you do this class. So how so tell me more about it.
So the workshop, it's a 3-hour workshop, and there are various exercises that we'll do to, illustrate those points, and to get, attendees to start to think that way if they don't already think that way.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So is this workshop or class? I like to call it play shop, because everything is
uh-huh.
play. It's like if we don't play, it's going to be really a very sad place if we don't play. Um, so do people come to you? Do people come to the class? What kind of people come to the class? Who is it for? I mean, you said whether you know that you are unique or whether you don't know that you are unique. So are there certain levels, and what do we get out of that class at the end of the day?
So the class is for, it's for those over 18, because we're going to be talking about personal issues, personal opinions, and um, I mean, that could bring us to various topics that if those under 18 might be, uncomfortable with, or those adults who might be sharing those might be uncomfortable sharing those with teens or youngers in the room.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
it's for those over 18. And when I planned it, I created it so that it will mostly, it can be for men and women, but I think it will appeal to women, middle age,
Hmm.
going through a transition,
Yeah. This you
looking
usually.
to
Yeah.
get back, yeah. So it's not necessarily about romantic love, even though we
Mm-hmm.
can talk about that.
Yes. No, I get that. Yeah.
We'll, so yeah,
Yeah, I get
but
that. So
just,
go ahead.
yeah. So it's so people will, recognize how unique they are, how special they are, and that there, are no accidents in this world. Everyone has their purpose, and it's important to find those talents and that purpose, and to realize the full person that you are, so that
Yeah.
you can offer it to the world.
That's right. That's right. Pretty much like this program. What you do with your podcast, and we'll talk about your podcast. You have a podcast as well,
Mhm.
and we'll have the link and everything down here. Yes, yes. There is no anyone else. It takes a lifetime to understand that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a lifetime.
Yeah.
And we can understand that when we're out of our way, so to speak, or out of our mind. When people tell me, "Dude, you're really out of your mind," and I say, "Thank you. It takes a lifetime.
Thank you. That is a
Takes a lifetime.
compliment. Yes. I'm out of my way. You get out of your way.
We get out of our way, and this is really what's holding us back, being in our way. Now, you've described and you've talked about that you've had and you still have, but kind of like a very kind of a subdued maybe situation of many conditions. You know, the celiac,
Mhm.
fibromyalgia, and so so tell me, you as Lisa, growing up, where are you from? Let's start with that. Where were you born? What family you have? How did that work for you growing up in the family that you grew up in?
Yeah, so I am a girl from the northwest side of Chicago
Mm-hmm.
and a Cub fan.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Cub fan. And I grew up in a Polish and Italian family.
Mm-hmm.
And so, at that point, I was diagnosed with celiac disease about age, I'd say around age I'd say 30, because I've had it for 20 years, a little over 20
Okay.
years.
Okay.
And so luckily, luckily I didn't have it as a child and I was able to enjoy all of those Italian dishes that my grandmother from Italy would make, like ravioli and
Wow.
brajol
Yeah.
and stuff. Um,
Tasty,
but then,
tasty.
yeah. So she'd say, "Mangia, Lisa,
Ah,
manja, eat."
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and that's one of the hardest things when you're diagnosed with celiac. The first thing you think about is I can't have pasta, I can't have pizza, I can't have cookies, cake, and that's really hard for people. And that is what I help them with to make that transition that you can still eat well, still eat, flavorful foods.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be like the way you ate before.
Or let's put it,
So,
it's a modified menu, or it's
yeah.
modified ingredients.
Hmm.
So you replace, so you work on replacing. Let's say you want to eat pasta. So how do you change the Pastorian menu?
You can, there's, yeah, there's different types of pasta. There's rice pasta, there's corn pasta, there's pasta made from beans. And so
I see.
you're going to substitute those things out, and you're
Gotcha.
going to substitute things that you may not think might have gluten in them,
Hmm.
say like meatballs. And
So you don't eat
meatballs,
bread either.
yeah, no. So if there's breadcrumbs, if they were made with breadcrumbs, you can't have them. You have to substitute those things. So gluten can, sneak into certain foods. So you just have to be vigilant and
Mm-hmm.
read
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
labels and ask
Mm-hmm.
questions. But a steak, like steak and potatoes and a vegetable, are gluten free. So if someone is enjoying that before they were diagnosed, they can still enjoy that afterwards.
I see. I see.
So
I see. So when you're growing up, did you have any of those symptoms, or was it just later on in life that they came into your presence? Like growing up, did you have any of these issues, the fibromyalgia, any of that?
no, I didn't.
So it
I
so
didn't
it came
have
later on, right? Yeah.
it manifested later. Um, I had say as a teenager, a young adult, I was diagnosed with endometriosis, which we now know is an autoimmune disease, and told that I probably wouldn't have kids. Um,
Do you
and
have
so
kids?
I do. I have two children and who are young adults now. And so that's just a miracle in itself, because I was told you have a 99.9% chance of not having children. I said, okay.
Well, it
Uh,
is a
all
miracle,
right.
and yeah, it is a miracle. So thank God for that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I was so, I mean, I did not expect, um, it was just, I was, my ex-husband now, we were going to start adoption proceedings. And I was,
Hmm.
of course, feeling well, went
Yeah.
in, and they just said, "You're pregnant." I was like, "What?"
You
What?
know, so
You
this
know, you
is,
go from this mindset
yeah.
of, being told that this probably won't happen, and having to adjust to that, and expect not to, and then
And
that
then to be,
happened.
and then to be pregnant. Let me ask
Yeah.
you this, because this is kind of a common thing to happen. Did you get pregnant after you decided to adopt?
Um, yeah, it's funny. My daughter's a honeymoon baby. So, we got back from the honeymoon, and her dad says, "You know what? I think we should start adoption. We need to look into it because it's going to take a few years for it to happen. So let's start looking into it now." And I said, "Oh yeah, okay, fine." And the internet was in its infancy back then.
That's right.
So uh I was just starting to try and figure that out, and who am I going to call and get all this information. And that's when I realized, okay, I'm not feeling too well. Let me call the doctor's office, and then went in and found, yeah. So yeah, I mean,
So yeah,
we made
because
that
this,
decision.
yeah, this is a common occurrence where women would think that they cannot get pregnant, and then once the decision is made to adopt, there is
Hmm.
an emotional and a spiritual release, and the woman can get pregnant, and the woman will get pregnant. I know it personally. I mean, I didn't get pregnant, but I know my sister did. It was the same thing. It was the same thing where the pressure of not having a baby, yes, having a baby, goes out and goes out on the adoption, and then the body is
Hmm.
released, and then the woman will get pregnant. So that's interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting also in the development of what you do. So how was your family? Was your family supportive in what you were doing at that time?
As in terms of being.
Well, growing up, because obviously you didn't do what you're doing today back then because you
Mhm.
didn't experience it. But you were, what were your things that you were into what that you were into while you were growing up? What was your passion? What did you want to do?
Oh gosh. You know, I I was one of those types that I didn't know what my talents were.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go into photography
Uh-huh.
and music. And so it was time to go to college. I didn't know one thing about applying to colleges
Mm-hmm.
because I'm the first person in my family to go to college.
Oh wow.
And the school counselor said, "You see that book on that shelf? Yeah, give it to me. Does it have photography in there? Yeah. Okay, well then go there." And so I ended up going to Columbia College in Chicago, and I didn't go into. I was looking at photography and journalism
Okay.
and music, and ended up going into music and vocal performance,
Okay.
and that's what my degree's in.
Okay. So
So
yeah.
yeah, and then um I did a bunch of things, and we were in the middle of a recession in the 90s and trying to find a job. I sold Baldwin pianos. um I met my ex-husband, and so then we got married, and that's immediately got pregnant, and so and then I
So
ended up staying home with my kids.
what happened to the piano and photography? What happened to the music and photography?
What happened? Well, the photography, I mean, and I ended up being like the relative that everybody gives their camera to whenever
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
party, and said, "Can you take some pictures for us? Just go around, take pictures because you're so good." Okay. And the music, I ended up taking, just singing for my kids. And about 10 years ago, about 5 years ago, I started taking guitar lessons seriously.
Okay,
And
nice.
I moved, and I ended up moving 3 hours away from my family in Chicago, and I'm in Iowa. And I sing the national anthem for various events. I
Mm-hmm.
sang for our minor league baseball team here,
Oh,
which was a dream realized. Let's say that, because when I moved here and we went
yeah.
to one of those games and I saw someone sing national anthem, I thought, I'd really like to do that. And then 15 years later, I was doing that.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
That
So,
probably felt very, very supportive, very encouraging. You want to do more. Very keeps
mhm.
you in, yeah, because that's quite a courage to stand in front of I don't know how many thousands of people, in an arena, and you're singing. It doesn't matter what you sing, but it's just the stand, the standing there, the the event itself, right? The event itself of standing in front of so many people. Yeah.
Mhm.
So so when did you get introduced? When were you introduced to the Leo that wrote the Love book? When did you introduce? When did you where when? I have to cut this.
Tongue
When
twister.
were you introduced to that to the love concept, to the book of Leo?
Yeah, in the 1980s, Leo would they put Leo on his programs on during the when they were I can't think of the word now, when they would have people would call in and donate to
Oh,
public
like a
television.
telethon type of thing.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
telethon, and he
And
was
so
Doctor Love at that time, right?
Dr. Love,
Doctor
and
Love.
he so they would run his specials, and so I would watch them
Mm-hmm.
with my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and just remembered how I always enjoyed those talks. And then years later, I was, health coaching and thinking about going into life coaching, because a lot uh, of health coaching would turn into more life coaching than health
Yeah,
coaching.
that makes sense because it's an integral part. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm in. It was funny because I was meeting with my business coach,
Yeah.
and I had said that I had gone to visit my family in Chicago, and she asked me about it, and I said, I had some inspiration when I was there. She says, well, what happened? Tell me about it. I said, so I'm in church. I was there for Easter weekend. So Holy Thursday, the priest is, yeah, during his sermon, he mentions my favorite motivational speaker. I just get this big grin on my face. Then Easter Sunday, I'm in a different church, different priest, and he mentions my favorite motivational
3 days
speaker.
later. 3 days later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's talking about love. And that's when the light bulb went off. And I said, this is what I'm supposed to talk about. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to talk about love and bringing people together. Because I thought, what are the odds that two different priests would mention my favorite motivational speaker, Leo Buscaglia? And so I went back home, had
Mm-hmm.
my meeting with my business coach,
Uh-huh.
and told her that story. And she says, oh, you definitely have to do this. You should be a life coach. And because you weren't really too excited about being a health coach and going to doctors' offices and talking to them about autoimmune disease.
Well,
So
but you have to be,
yeah,
in
so
a,
that's
sorry, go ahead.
oh, so that was the first steps to getting onto the road to becoming a life coach, and then creating Love Class.
Yeah, but it's the thing is that you have to be in a certain state. Yeah, so you heard a certain state internally.
Mhm.
Um, you know, we get signs We get spiritual signs through our physical existence. We get signs that guide us. When we talk about listening to our guides, listening to our gut feeling, listening to
Mm-hmm.
you know, how does it manifest? How do we get signs? We get signs through physical material things that we can understand and we can comprehend. So when it's like when you think of somebody and then they call, or you think of somebody and call them and they say, "Well, I just thought of you." There is this connection. There's this synchronicity. I call it the kissing points of our synchronicities, right? Where we are
Okay.
synchronized right at that particular point where I think of somebody and this is what seems like it happened with you. It
Mm-hmm.
happened where you were already, and this is what I work with people about manifestation. Many times we're manifesting without even knowing that we're manifesting.
Mm-hmm.
You had this desire that you felt was very deep inside you, and then because your life was or is still involved with priesthood and going to church, then naturally the signs that you will get are coming from where you are, the environment that you
Mm-hmm.
are. And so a priest would talk about this and a priest would talk about the same thing, and it clicks.
Yeah.
So it's not only about these two priests, right?
Right.
But the most important part was you, still
Mm-hmm.
is, right? You, right? That within you probably inhabited a certain place within you that attracted those signs, those. So can you bring yourself to that place, like when you heard the first time, or before you heard the first priest talking about your preferred motivational speaker?
Yeah.
Can you bring yourself to remember what state were you in? Like where were you inside you? Were you?
Hmm. That I'm not sure about that, like that day, but prior to that, I have been more open to seeing like the synchronicities.
Mm-hmm.
And I will see things. I don't really talk about it that much because like some people will think some people go, I don't get it. And you know, so yeah, I do see synchronicities and things. And I don't know if I can tell this story, but
You can
I
tell
had
whatever you want. It's all
a
open.
friend who, okay, this is all about synchronicity. Well,
That's great.
I have a friend, Michelle, who passed away suddenly, and she was a huge Bon Jovi fan.
Mm-hmm.
And so one day, it was about 5 months after she passed. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
too long. And she had given to me one day this she'd sent me a thank you card, and it said on the front said, do more of what makes you happy.
Mm.
And so I was at the gym one day and I see this child with a t-shirt on that says, do more of what makes you happy.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, Michelle. And then over the course, I was there a few hours. Over the course, I heard a Bon Jovi song. And then I'm on my way home. And then I went to my guitar lesson that day. And on the way there, I hear a Bon Jovi song. So I get to my guitar lesson, and my teacher, Bryce, who is maybe, all of 25 years old, says to me, I was thinking about you today. I was over at Salvation Army Family Store, and I saw this it's a hockey jersey, and he says it has Bon Jovi on it. And I thought of you. I didn't get it because it was too big for me. But if you want it, go over there. And I ended up going over there, and it was funny because I got the shirt for $5, and I look it up, and it's maybe $100 shirt. So I go, I go home, and I'm looking at this, and I know it's you, Michelle. And I look at the number that was on the shirt, and it was number 13. I said,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? What's today's date? It was March 13th.
Wow.
So so that day I went, I know you're talking to me. And
This is beautiful. This is yeah. This is like all these synchronicities that are happening and giving us encouragement, because this is really
yeah.
what is happening. We're being encouraged by the
Mm-hmm.
signs that we see, and so you were encouraged by that made connection to you, to what you want to do, that you love, and then you hear the priest. So it all fits.
Yeah.
You see, so you're like getting signs, getting encouragement to continue on that path that you're doing. So obviously you're doing something
Mm-hmm.
right, and that is the point. Um, so
Mm-hmm.
people come to you today. By the way, let's talk about your class. You have this upcoming Saturday. You have the love class, and we'll have it here. How can people find out more? Where would they go? Where would they go to discover that?
They could go to lswellnessqc.com and scroll to the bottom of the page, because I did
Yeah,
a blog on it,
yeah, it's
which
going to be here.
explains the love class
It's your
too.
website is going to be listed here, and so
Yeah.
yeah, that's an interesting approach. It's a very going by that book and building. So you built a whole workshop, as I call play shop. You built a whole workshop based on that book, but you bring your own
My own flavor
influences,
to
your
it.
own flavor, your own Lisa into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because it's adapted from his work, because I certainly wouldn't copy his work or take his work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Adapted. I got it.
In his work, when when you read it, there are many other people out in the world now who are saying the same things. I mean, there's Brene Brown,
Mm-hmm.
and there's all sorts of people, but it's through their lens and it's through their experience. And sometimes someone can tell us to do something or to try something, and we may be resistant to it, and then
Mm-hmm.
someone else can tell us the same thing,
That's right.
and we end up doing it. And sometimes it's the messenger, it's not the message,
That's right. It's
but
about
it's
son. That's right.
who you click with. And so with this class, although we're going to talk about Leo's message, um it's going to be through my lens, and a little bit of Lisa flavor in
Yeah.
there, thrown in there. And I had picked hope, potential, and risk, because I feel that those are the foundations that we need in order to even begin to love.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So,
right. Hope is well, hope is a key, because hope is also imagination, you
mm-hmm,
know? Imagining that it is possible. Part of the tools of manifestations that I use is to imagine that you are already there, and feel, how does it feel to be already there? And when you feel
mm-hmm,
that, then your choices and the way you think about things are 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 taking a whole different outlook, a whole different approach, and a
yeah,
whole different belief system. So hope is great, and then potential, recognizing your potential, and then the risk. And the risk is the action, actually,
mm-hmm,
right? The
yeah,
risk is actually taking the action, doing that uh, which will bring forth what your desire, what you want to do. So it is a risk.
yeah.
Do you have people, or maybe yourself, that, let's say, you have the hope, you understand your potential, and you took a risk, and it didn't materialize the way that you wanted it to?
Mhm.
Are you familiar with that? Did you have any people that came back to you, or that it just didn't work, or did you experience that I was in this place, I had the hope, I had the understanding, I had the understanding of my gifts, but I took a risk and it plummeted. Did that
Yeah.
look at that? Did that happen?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's happened to me. And I I like, that hope isn't just positive thinking.
Hmm.
It's it operates in the realm of realism, and that, you know, it helps you have that realization where I can have this positive um, expectancy to my desired goals. But if those goals don't manifest, you know what? It's going to be okay. It's not just looking at it as in terms of, it's going to be great, it's going to be great, and then if it isn't, oh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm still I still have my gifts. I still have my dreams, and I just need to go around, figure out why didn't this work, and figure it out and pursue it again.
Yeah. Many times we want something, but in reality, we're either not ready for it
Mm-hmm.
or it is not really good for us. I say that, many times we want something. We want something. We're so adamant about wanting something, but sometimes what we want is not what is good for us. And we don't see it yet. We don't, maybe we don't see what's behind the turn of that wall. God
Mm-hmm.
and the universe see. There is a
Mm-hmm.
sentence in the Bible that says, in Hebrew it says, "Rabot machashavot belevi ish ve'atzat Hashem itakum." Many thoughts in a person's mind, but only that of God will prevail. So we can make plans from here till tomorrow, and we can make all this, and then suddenly something doesn't work out. And then what do you
Mm-hmm.
do? Do you go crazy? Or you say, you know what? Maybe it wasn't the right time.
Right.
Maybe it is not the right thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it is important not to get discouraged if there is a no, because after so many no's, there will always be a yes. You'll have a
Mm-hmm.
no, no, no. Eventually, it'll happen if you really want that, and if it's really good for you. Now, the thing is that sometimes we want something so bad, and we don't pay attention to the fact that it may not be good for us, and then we get it, and then we say, it's not that. It's not what I wanted. It doesn't feel like it. Yeah. And so it's interesting. It's interesting, and combining the love class, I think, is really an important tool for helping in manifesting, because hope and potential and risk is, if you do all these things for yourself, then there is a big chance that you love yourself.
Yeah.
There is a
Yeah.
big
And
chance
that
that you
is
love
such an
yourself.
important component to the whole thing.
Yeah, this is wonderful. Um, I'm going to cut her for a second. Did you publish a book or anything?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. So, so with this class and with this work that you do, and again, it's kind of fun, and it's great that we don't have to, like in the 80s, to travel so far to reach somebody. You're in
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, I'm in Los Angeles, and we can just talk like we're here. The
Yeah.
world is actually becoming smaller. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
become smaller because now we can reach everybody,
Yeah.
except for those in Antarctica, maybe, that are ice fishing. We cannot
Yeah.
probably reach those. Lisa, it's been a real pleasure having you. For you who are watching, the love class is happening this weekend. The um, the link is below, so please reach out. Are there any other dates that the class will be taking place, or is it only this weekend that is happening?
It's this weekend. Uh, I will be planning more workshops, or maybe I should call them play shops. Uh, you know, in the year, but nothing is set in stone yet.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Okay,
yeah.
okay. Well, that's great. So if anybody wants to find out more, and I really encourage you to explore all areas that light you up, that bring this joy, that bring this happiness and all and love, and encourage that, because we are in a place, we're in a time where where separation is what is being shoved down our throat.
Mm-hmm.
Separation and fear, so we don't think critically, so we don't understand that our power is in our unity, that our power is in our critical thinking, that our power is in our love and appreciation. And so to practice that and to be in that space as much as possible, um, because it is, life can be challenging, and we can forget about
Yeah.
this. So I encourage you to check out Lisa's website, and her Facebook info is down here too, and about the love class that she is giving. Any last thoughts and last words, any message that you want to send everybody, Lisa, before we
You,
are?
yeah, bef- that when you go out into the world, and it's important to give people love and give people kindness, but most of all, give them the gift of you.
Mm, yeah, amen. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Give them the gift of you. That's a good one. Give the world the gift of you. Lisa Strzoda, thank you very much for being here and talking about what you do and your gifts. It's been a pleasure, and nice meeting you also in that workshop that we've done,
Mm-hmm.
the BC on TV. And thank you very much for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, Elon.
Absolutely. And for you who have been watching, thank you much. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for the courage to be and to show up for yourself and to show love and kindness to yourself. This is Abracadabra. Create what you speak. Your words really matter, and the intentions and your actions that follow that. So thank you very much for being here. I'm iLan Azoulai. And if you are inspired by this program, please reach out or check out a YouTube channel, youtube.com/ilan Azoulai, and website bodysoulsound.com. And we can talk about everything, including sound, love, and you. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful week. Abracadabra. Create what you speak with iLan Azoulai.